So this video is to cover areas of the agreement that we should be aware of, and as I understand them for the closeout. So first of all, we have this transition plan. We've sent this to the partner. We're expecting some feedback from them. So what I have done is on the right-hand side over here, next to each action, I have kind of done a review. And that was one of the things I was supposed to do, is review all CRS and donor closeout policy requirements and deadlines as we've looked at this. So this is my attempt to do so. So there, in terms of our colleagues who have access to Dropbox, we do have the CRS and we have operations. We have the transition plan. We've got the donor agreement, and the donor agreement is what we've been looking at. This is the one that's been marked up. So this is to help us go through it. And we'll also talk about this. There's kind of little components that I've kind of done. So, maybe putting together an issue paper for the final performance report or data management. So this is just to help us. So this would give us an idea of, well, how we're going to do a final report or data management, a little bit more details. So let's start by, first of all, letting you know that this is kind of the outline I've been working on, and so I'll let people know about this. But I've already done one video for some people on general agreements, amendments, and redirection. Now we're going to talk a little about closeout, our tracking system, and then relevant sections of the agreement. So take a look here. So as we look at here, let's go through our kind of agreement. So I've already covered lots of these sections in my previous, or I've covered some of these from the previous. So, but I kind of stopped around here when we get into kind of the more compliance focused sections that we need to be aware of. So what are those sections that we need to be aware of? Well, one is, again, for the work plans. Just note that even though our work plans were supposed to be submitted in July, it's now been changed to August 31st. And that is detailed and documented both on Gateway and Dropbox under FY18 work plan change approvals. So we're okay. We've been complying with that since the beginning. I said this because you can see that's it's a modification to this July 30th. Our monitoring and evaluation plan is a key document we submit every year. Do note, however, the CLA plan was never really required and not in the agreement, so it's rather uncertain, or rather dubious, that we'll need to report against the CLA plan. Quarterly performance reports, this we do all the time, so no need to cover this. Annual performance reports, it does say 90 days after, but this was actually changed to 30 days after, so it would feed into the USAID Ethiopia reporting schedule. I'm confirming that correspondence with USAID, and we'll share that shortly. There's a closeout report. This closeout report is not the final report. This is a closeout report that is administrative and that we are submitting this week, the week of March 1st, to USAID to let them know that we'll be closing out early. That does have some key things such as a draft property disposition plan for phase-out operations, and other components. The final performance report would be the equivalent of also the terminal report. So it is worthwhile to note that it's 90 days after we close the project. So if we close the project in June 30th, it would be due September 30th. But we do need to submit our report first to our AOR 45 days after. So that brings us into, I believe, around August. And then he gives us comments, and we then have to submit it in September. I'm going to go quickly through some of these sections here. There is an approval for specific key personnel. Those are 4 of us. You can see that those are all listed under our, this is listed in the Dropbox and Gateway. And then for gateway, you just need to type in search by key personnel. Okay. So I'm going to do this. I may not have saved it when I made the comments earlier on. All right. We have the redirection plan. So this is slightly different from our modifications. And so that was posted both on Gateway and Dropbox. In the case of Dropbox, that would look like, again, programming, donor. And we go along in here and we have for tracking our donor correspondence. Sorry, we go back here to donor agreements and you can see here we are. This is our redirection. So we did do that. Actually, while we're here, it's worth noting there is a for everything that I'm talking about, you can always go here and you can go to things like any of our approvals we've got from USAID, those are all there, key personnel and other ones. The links to the gateway have been broken, but you should be able to search the new gateway links using the file name. And again, that's there. All right, well, let's go back to our agreement. We do every year we do submit our annual results reports, our environmental compliance reports, but we'll need to figure out what's required to actually close the grants right now. It is worthwhile noting that officially we only have approval to work with one other partner, and that is MCS. That's one reason we refer to innovation funds as beneficiaries. Otherwise, we would have to get approval for each one of those. So there's multiple reasons to define them as beneficiaries, but this was one reason. Program description, as I said here, this is really covers maybe about 25 pages. This is our proposal. This is what we've agreed upon with USAID. Oh, I should highlight here, there was, you'll see something up here on a number of people to be served. So do note that has changed. That was corrected for, and you can find that in the first or in one of the early amendments or modifications we have with USAID. Let's go down to our next yellow section. There's only a couple more sections at this point. Let's hit it. You can see this is a very long document. So one of the things I also have here is around the deck. So I think we've been very good about posting on the deck, but it does tell us what we should and should not submit on the deck. The other section we're going to take a look at is on data management. So we are trying to understand if this requires beneficiary data or if this is data as related to any research that we did, which we did not do. We would not need to upload anything there, but we'd have to look at it. If we do need to apply anything on data, there is some standards that CRS has for under its MPP on data management. And the last section, I believe, is branding. So let's just get down to the very bottom here. You can see lots of legal language here, and it gets quite tedious. And again, this is my understanding. Our colleagues from headquarters will give us clarification. And then there's all these around branding and marking. Several of these have been posted on Gateway, so you just need to type in branding or marking into the search engine for documents under LRO. And we also have them all listed under in our Dropbox. So this is a quick overview of, as my understanding, the areas we need to be aware of for closeout as per our agreement. Thank you.